Hi everyone, and welcome to week 10 of the course project. So week 10 is our budgets, and it's a little longer than the other tabs that we've worked on, and that's why you'll notice that this project or this particular tab is worth 30 points. So here's our scenario. It's January 1st, 2023, which means it's just one day past the week 8 CVP analysis. We're beginning our second year, and instead of waiting for people to find your bakery, you've actually hired a sales manager to optimize your product exposure. You now supply cupcakes to boutique hotels, bridal shops, and luxury shops. Based on popularity, you only produce chocolate cupcakes with chocolate icing. Your sales manager is pushing for the company to create and maintain budgets. So what we're going to do is create a sales, production, material, and labor budget in preparation for the new year. Okay, so for the sales budget, the sales manager really believes that we can sell 36,000 cupcakes during our first quarter, which is January through March. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that number in here. And the sales manager believes that we can safely increase our sales by 2.75% each quarter. So in order to increase sales quarterly, we needed to reduce our customer price, and so our customer price is now $17. So this is our budgeted sales. We know that our selling price per dozen is 17. And so the revenue for the first quarter is going to be $612,000. But now let's talk about quarter two. How do we factor in this sales increase? So I'm just going to take my 36,000 and I'm going to increase it by 2.75%, which looks like this. And I'm multiplying it, 1.0275. And that gives me my increase. Now I'm going to do the same thing for quarter three and quarter four. And remember, don't forget to sum your how much you plan to produce in the first year. So you'll sum up the budgeted sales and you'll also sum up the revenue. So now we're going to go down to your production budget. So this is what the sales team should be ensuring that we sell. The production team now needs to be able to meet those sales goals. So they start with their budgeted sales. I'm just going to grab that 36. And then they need to add in their desired ending inventory. Well, dude, how much is the desired ending inventory? It says here that we always want to have at least 1 day of inventory. So if we know that a quarter is approximately 90 days, we should be able to simply take this budgeted sales, divide it by 90, and then multiply it by 1. And that gives us a desired ending inventory of 400 units. That means that the total units needed during quarter one is going to be 36,400. But when we walked into the office or the production floor on January 1st, we already had inventory that was sitting there. It was probably already packaged or it was in the process of being packaged. So we need to remove that from the total units needed. And we can see that our beginning inventory was 350. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. And I'm going to make it a negative. There we go. And so now our required production is the 36. And we subtract out the 350. So our required production is 36,050 for the first quarter. You'll do the same thing for all the other quarters. And again, sum up the budgeted sales and the required production. Remember, this is your data check to make sure that you've captured everything. Okay, now we're down to the materials budget. So your sales manager is on task. Your production manager has everything set up for the full year. Now we need to ensure that we have enough materials on hand to meet this production. So we want to start with our required production. And remember, we just calculated that. It's up here, your required production. So I'm just going to grab that information. So the first section is your raw materials. We need to know how much raw material that we need to procure for each one of these quarters. So I'm going to get this information from the job order tab. I'm just going to open up the cell, and then I'm going to go over to the job order tab, and we can see that for flour, we need 1/2 pound per dozen. So I've got that. Now I need to know, how much flour do I actually need to buy? Do I need to buy 36,000 pounds? Well, no, I don't, because I only use 1/2 pound for each dozen. So that means I need 18,000 pounds of flour. So again, you'll do the same thing for all of the different ingredients and across the quarters. I do want to warn you that on the job order tab, I'm going to click over there, you have a pretty long list of ingredients, vanilla icing, and you're going to notice that those two items are not on your budgets tab. So remember, we now only produce chocolate cupcakes with chocolate icing, so make sure that you're picking up the right information as you move down this list. Now we're going to move on to the cost of your raw materials. You can see that we have a material cost increase of 2%. That means we're going to go back to the job order tab. We're going to look at how much it cost us, and we're going to inflate that cost or escalate that cost by 2%. I'm going to come over to the job order tab, and I've actually already done this. I've got my 2% here. Let's talk about how we captured this information. So I took the cost per pound and I simply multiplied it by 1.02. And then I have all of the cost for all of the ingredients. Again, as we walk through and populate the budget, the cost per unit, we just need to make sure that we're picking up the right ingredients. So for the flour, I'm going to pick up a cost of 2.3 or $2.30. And now I need to calculate how much are these raw materials going to cost. So I'm going to pick up the raw materials. I need 18,000 pounds, and I'm going to multiply it by the cost of $2.30. So just for flour, for the first quarter, I need $41,000 and some change. Again, total down here, and then calculate your price per dozen. On the off chance that you don't get to this, it's okay. You'll just need it for the next tab, which is week 11 variance. Now let's go on down to your labor budget. And let's talk about this. So you've recently hired more people to bake, decorate, and package your cupcakes. All of these people perform their jobs at different speeds. So what we need to do is we need to calculate the standard time that each position needs to complete all of their required production. We're only going, for this particular column, we're only going to be concerned with the first quarter. So don't think about averaging up all 4 quarters. It's only going to be based on the first quarter. Again, this standard time is something that you're really going to need on week 11 variances, because you're going to be calculating the labor time variance for all of your different categories. So this right here is going to be your required production. So I'm just going to grab that required production again. And all we really need to do is take our required production and then divide it by the fact that each baker can produce 48 dozen per hour. So that means the standard time for this particular quarter is 751 hours. Now, if you really wanted to, for, when you're calculating how much you need to pay in labor, For quarter one, you could technically take your standard time and multiply it by your hourly rate. But that really only works for the first quarter, because remember, the second quarter you actually have a different required production. So another formula that works a little bit better for this is to just reperform the first part of it, which was to take your required production, divide it by how many dozen you can produce in an hour, and then multiply that by your hourly rate. All right. So that covers everything that's required for the budgets tab on week 10. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.